Hello, my fellow creeps. Welcome to DadPooL's Discussions. I am your host, the one and only DadPooL. How you guys doing today? Happy Friday. The week is over. The weekend is here. Halloween is almost upon us, which means, sadly, the end of DadPooLoWeen. But don't worry, as I'll touch on later, there's more content coming in November and December. So make sure your fingers hit that like button, smash that subscribe or follow, and hit that notification bell. That way you know when more videos come out and new series are released. Again, I appreciate everyone who has stopped by and supported me during this. Again, from the bottom of my heart. So today, if you, again, look at my avatar, can you guess what the movie is? Do you think you might know? I'll give you a hint. It's from 1982. It's directed by Tobe Hooper. If I say they're here, yes, I'm talking about Poltergeist, and not the 2015 horrible remake, which I know I have a remake versus original series coming up, but I'm not even going to waste a video on that because we all know that the 82, the original, is a million times better than that 2015 film. But today, on the 27th day of October, the 27th day of DadPooLoWeen, we have Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist. Screenplay by Steven Spielberg. Produced by Frank Marshall and Steven Spielberg. Came out June 4th in 1982, so a great summer movie. I will admit I didn't see this until maybe end of summer that year. Again, my mom would always let us watch horror movies, and I know 82 was a really good year for horror movies. So I remember seeing the previews for this, again, as a 6-year-old kid. Terrified, but wanting. Like, are you ever afraid of something, but yet you want that at the same time? Like, you want to experience it, you want to see it, you want to watch it, you want to live it. Yeah, this is what horror movies did for me as a kid. And just like in the movie, how it opens up with the national anthem playing and then this TV station sign off and goes to snow. I'm young enough to remember that's how stuff happened. That's how TV ended. It always ended. There was always a couple things on TV. At 10 o'clock, there'd come an alert saying, it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are? That was a staple that came up every time when I was growing up. And then national anthem at the end of the broadcast day and the picture going to snow. Let me tell you, after seeing this movie, I made sure that I did not stay up to witness that happen live when I was a kid. Like, I was terrified, and I remember unplugging my TV and crying to my mom, and my mom was real. She's like, well, you wanted to watch it, right? You wanted to go see it. You wanted to watch these movies. You need to she was a tough woman. She's like, you need to deal with the trauma. I'm not going to bail you out because I didn't force your hand to watch this movie. We watch these, we like them, and you just got to digest it all. And I guess it's kind of given me my thick skin growing up, and not having so much fear, knowing that these movies are just that. They're just movies. Um, but this movie really hit home a little bit, like it was, because where we lived growing up, it was built over an old farm, and there was still a barn that was still standing from, I believe it was like the late 1800s. Obviously, it was reinforced a little bit, but the main structure was still there. So I remember being curious, like what was underneath the ground. Like, I didn't want to have an in-ground pool. My parents, when they got us a pool as a kid, it was an above-ground pool. I didn't want no digging in the ground. Even burying my pet animals, I don't know. I was like, I don't want to. I don't know. I had this timid factor to it after watching this movie, because what if later in life those souls from the animals were to come back to life, and then watching Pet Cemetery just, oh man, just kind of magnified that 100 times. But what was your experience with Poltergeist? Like, how old were you when you first saw it? And what are your experiences with it? This movie was a gem. It's it's a little under 2 hours long, so it's not that long of a watch, and it's not slow paced. It's pretty steady paced. In the some movies I've been reviewing, the time just doesn't seem like it's been 2 hours. It just, you're watching it, and before you know it, it's the end. So I love a film that does that, especially being 40 years old, still holds up today. This movie will outperform some of the newer movies, even having limited resources, or limited functionality of certain effects, and maybe editing. It's just a great movie, and it deserves to be on one of the top horror movies of all time, if not in a top 10. I was able to meet Oliver Robbins, who plays Robbie in the movie, at a horror fest in Syracuse, and it was fun to watch the screening of Poltergeist, and then having a Q&A afterwards. And it was just after the remake came out, so of course lots of questions about what do you think of the remake, and how do you think it compares. And he was straight up to, the original does not touch the remake. It stands by itself, and he did a great job as a young actor to perform that role, to be that terrified, and Heather O'Rourke as well. Just great chemistry with the family. You had Craig T. Nelson, who was the father, Steve Freeling. You had Jo Beth Williams as his wife, Diane. Dominique Dunn played Dana. And like I said, Oliver Robbins was Robbie, and Heather O'Rourke was Carol. That chemistry as a family just felt like it was an 80s family. And they depicted how life was growing up at that time. The dialogue, the bickering at the kitchen table, like just that family dynamic just worked. Obviously, the dynamics currently is a 180 because families now don't sit down to have dinner. They don't sit down and have breakfast. It's just a totally different way of life now, and that's one of the reasons I think that this movie holds up, is it just stays true to American culture and to families. So let's get into the plot of the movie, and then show some pictures from the film, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll talk about some future videos coming up, some future content, and then we'll let you enjoy the rest of your Friday night. So, Steve and Diane Freeling lived in this community of Cuesta Verde, California. Steve is a successful real estate agent, and Diane looks after their 3 children: 16-year-old Dana, 8-year-old Robbie, and 5-year-old Carol Ann. Late one night, Carol Ann inexplicably converses with the family's television set while it displays post-broadcast static. The next night, she again fixates on the television, and a ghostly white hand emerges from the screen, followed by a violent earthquake. As the family is shaken awake by the quake, say that 10 times fast, as the family is shaken awake by the quake, Carol Ann eerily declares the iconic line, they're here. And I'm going to pull that image up right now really quick. So this is the image of Carol Ann when she says they're here. It's such a great job. She played that creepy kid, sweet, mixed with that sweet, gentle soul. It was a refreshing performance. So the following day is filled with bizarre events. A glass of milk spontaneously breaks, silverware bends, and furniture moves on its own. These phenomena initially seem benign, but soon grow more sinister. During a severe thunderstorm, the gnarled backyard tree seemingly comes alive. And this tree, we all had a tree like this in our yard growing up. At least I did. That just looked like it didn't belong. It looked like a monster. The way the trunk deformed, kind of looked like a head with a mouth and arms. Again, I made my dad cut down any branches that would even linger over my window. That's how much of an effect this movie had on me. And we come to see that later on in the film, towards the end. It's crazy. So a large limb crashes through the children's bedroom window, grabs Robbie, pulls him outside while it's pouring rain, and attempts to devour him. While the family rushes outside to rescue Robbie, Carol Ann is pulled into a portal inside the closet. So the tree was a distraction to get the family outside to save the brother, while the daughter was left inside for the poltergeists to, shall we say, I guess, abduct her, take her away. After saving Robbie from the tree, which got sucked into a tornado, which didn't seem to do any damage to any houses, it was just like a vortex of, almost like a black hole-ish vortex. It was crazy. The family frantically searched for Carol Ann, only for her voice to come out of the television. And then we get parapsychologist. Let me show them. So we get parapsychologist Martha Lesh arrives with team members Ryan and Marty, and Marty's played by Martin Cassell. And there's a scene that comes up with him that is unreal. They determine that there's a poltergeist intrusion involving multiple ghosts. Meanwhile, Steve learns from his boss that the Cuesta Verde development was built on a former cemetery, and the graves were moved to a nearby location. So, according to his boss, that they moved everything. There wasn't, we find out later it's not true, but we'll get to that. Dana and Robbie are sent away for safety, while Dr. Lesh calls in Tangina Barons, a spiritual medium, Tangina determines the spirits are lingering in a different sphere of consciousness and are not at rest. They are attracted to Carol Ann's life force. Tangina also detects a dark presence she calls the Beast, who is restraining Carol Ann and manipulating her life force in order to prevent the other spirits from crossing over. And so Diane, secured by a rope, passes through the portal, guided by another rope, previously threaded through both portals. Before we get to that scene, there's a scene where Marty is getting hungry and lets Ryan know he's going to get something to eat in the kitchen. So he's looking for something to eat, goes in the fridge, pulls out a steak. Again, I don't know. I don't just have steak sitting in the fridge uncovered, but grabs a steak, sets it on the counter, just walks away for a second, and then he hears like a crawling, squishing sound. The camera pans to the steak. It's crawling across the counter, and it stops right towards the edge, and then it just starts to like shred and kind of like implode on itself. The chicken leg that he's eating, he drops it in shock, and then the camera pans down to the chicken leg, and the chicken leg has maggots all on it. So it's like, oh, you look at that, you're like, what the and and then the steak is just turning into like shredded, I don't even know, like shredded meat. So Marty goes to the bathroom to like wash his face, kind of like clean himself up, and he's looking in the mirror, and then he just starts ripping his face off. You see skin and blood and flesh falling into the sink, and then you look up. To me, it's a very well done practical effect. I know it looks kind of weird because you can tell that it's not really, it's a stand-in dummy face, but still the effects is great. He's ripping off his face all the way down to the skull, and it's just he's standing in the bathroom sink. He's looking into the mirror, and then it just flashes to him just touching his face, and there's nothing wrong. It's the poltergeist messing with him. So like I said, they determine that they can enter the closet and come out on another side of a portal. That's when they toss the tennis balls through, and number one comes through. We toss the second tennis ball through, and it comes through to Ryan downstairs. Then they shoot the rope through. That comes through. Diane retrieves Carol Ann, and they drop through the ceiling to the living room floor, covered in like this pinkish, reddish ectoplasm type material, like goo. As they recover from the ordeal, Tangina proclaims, "The house is clean. The house is clean." Yeah, okay. Shortly after, the Filling family have nearly finished packing to move out the house before the family is to leave. Stephen goes to his office while Dana is on a date, leaving Diane at home with Robbie and Carol Ann. The Beast ambushes Diane, and we see it here in this picture. There's the Beast. Crazy looking. So the Beast ambushes Diane and the children, aiming for a second kidnapping attempt. The unseen force drives Diane to the backyard in the pouring rain when she stumbles into the flooded swimming pool where it's being constructed. And we get that scene of her out there, and all these dead skeleton bodies are like floating towards her, and she's flipping out. Skeletal corpses and coffins float up around her in the muddy hole. Diane crawls out and rushes back into the house. She rescues the children, and they escape to the outside. As more coffins and bodies erupt from the ground, you start to see these mausoleums and coffins and stone structures all pop up from the ground, and all these remains are coming out. It's all from the ancient Indian burial ground. Stephen, accompanied by his boss, Louis Teague, arrives home to the mayhem and realizes that only the gravestones were relocated, and the development was built over the abandoned bodies. And you can see Stephen saying, "Why didn't you just move the headstones? Why didn't you move the bodies? It was just an intense scene between back and forth of boss and Stephen. It was a really good scene. The Finlings jump into the car and collect Dana as she returns home, and she's screaming, "What's going on? What's happening?" And the house is imploding in front of Teague into like a portal of its own, and all the neighbors look on as the neighborhood is destroyed, uh, because the old spirits of the buried are coming back to claim their neighborhood. So the family checks into the room at a motel, and seemingly everything is okay. And then you see him take the TV and just wheel it outside and leave it there, and kind of like gives that little quick look like, nah, not tonight, not here, no TV in this place. And then the movie ends with that beautiful Poltergeist theme. So yeah, it's like I said, from start to finish, the movie is really fast, really paced well. The story is is excellent. Again, adapted from Steven Spielberg, who I believe was going to direct it, or he wanted to have certain elements, but Toby Hooper said no. I want to change some things up, and it worked out. It worked out for everybody involved. This movie did go on to have 2 sequels, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, and then there was Poltergeist 3, which starred Tom Skerritt and Nancy Allen. And this movie was released. Heather O'Rourke had passed away. She had passed away at the age of 12 to like an intense intestinal disease or something. Way too soon, gone way too soon. And oddly enough, both Heather O'Rourke and Dominique Dunn, who played her sister in the movie, are, she passed away at an early age as well, and they're both buried at the same cemetery as with each other. So it's crazy. So a few tidbits about the film. Both of the terrors that plague Robbie came from Steven Spielberg's own fears as a child. The fear of clowns and the fears of trees outside his window, which, again, played masterfully in the scenes where Robbie's getting attacked by the tree, and then in this scene where Robbie's getting attacked by the clown at the end of the movie. But I'm asking myself, why, if you're terrified of a clown, and he was terrified from the beginning of the movie, because at the beginning of the movie he puts this Chewbacca jacket over the clown face. Why are we still having this clown in the room? Why is it still there? If you're that terrified, I would have put the clown in the attic or the basement. But that's just me. If I was that terrified of something, I would not have it in my room still. But who am I to judge? Let's see. Drew Barrymore was first considered for the role of Carol Ann. Which is crazy to know, but ultimately she landed the part of Gertie in E.T., which came out in the same year. So it really, could you imagine if she did not do E.T., what her career would be like today? If she had taken this role, would it still propel her to the star power that she has now? It makes you wonder. During all the horrors that proceeded while filming Poltergeist, only one scene really scared Heather O'Rourke, that in which she had to hold onto the headboard while the wind machine blew toys into the clouds behind her. The young actress fell apart. Producer Steven Spielberg stopped everything, took her in her arms, and said she would not have to do that scene again. So that was a one-time capture. And again, the scene in question is this scene here. So she was truly terrified. And that was a one take. That was, and Steven Spielberg was sympathetic to her feelings and did not force her to do that action again, which is saying a lot for Steven. The house that's they're living in, that's possessed, is still in existence today. It's located in Simi Valley, California. The family who owned it did sell it in 2009, so the house is still there. It's Simi Valley. I'm sure, like any movie house, sure gets its attention. I'm sure there's people driving by taking pictures and whatnot. So if you're ever in the Simi Valley area, go check out the house from Poltergeist. So let's get to some AI pictures that I created with myself inside the Poltergeist movie. So here's a scene where I'm inside the TV and the monster's like reaching for me inside the TV set. And then there's a little variation of it where I'm inside reaching out saying, I'm trapped, I'm trapped, I'm trapped. And then, of course, we have this picture that's my avatar. I think these are really cool. I love, like I said, I love Bing. If you're interested in creating some crazy images, I would recommend Bing AI. It's in the App Store, the Play Store, so check it out. Speaking of pictures and images, so right now up on my YouTube, I have a poll up because I'm going to be changing my logo for the coming year. I want you guys to help me pick out a photo. So here's the three options. We have this option right here. It's my head with some headphones and a couple mics, DadPooL's discussions. We have this one where it's kind of like a setup with the mic, the camera, the PC, like a desk mode with DadPooL's discussions on the screen. And then there's this one here. I know I like all of them. I may try to incorporate all of them into certain shows, but definitely they're going to become merch. I'm working on that, so you'll be able to get a DadPooL's discussion blanket or hoodie or t-shirt or hat, something, sticker. So in that description, the merch store is active right now. You should go check it out. I urge you. Christmas is coming up. Grab one. And go, while you're in the description, check out the TikTok link. Check out the Discord link. Join the Discord. We're going to be doing some Discord-only events coming up very soon. Go follow me on Twitch. Go follow me on Twitter. I still call it Twitter, even though it's X. I post daily. It's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, through DM. Which, if you would like to come on any show starting next month, I'm doing DadPooL's Discussions Horror Then and Now, where I'll be discussing the original versus the remake of a horror franchise. In the first one, we have Hellraiser versus the Hulu Hellraiser. Should be a very interesting conversation. If you want to come on, get a hold of me. We can discuss that. We can talk about it. Or if there's a franchise that you like or don't like, either the remake or original, and would like to have a discussion or debate, by all means, reach out to me. Let's make it happen. It'd be a great time. And then a month later in December, I'll be doing 25 Days of Christmas Horror, where I'll be reviewing Christmas slashers. Some that I haven't seen, And if you heard the news yesterday, Damien Leone says that Terrifier 3 will be a Christmas slasher movie. Cannot wait for that. The teaser will be out next week. And I really hope it comes out this Christmas because I want to review it this Christmas. But no matter what, whenever it comes out, I'll be sure to do a video and give my take on it. I'm sure it's going to be truly amazing. The previous two Terrifiers were lights out. All Hallows Eve was lights out, even though we had a different art to clown, different character, different person playing. Still lights out. And Damien Leone, I believe, if I was reading correctly, he wants to do. I think he wants to take a stab at Friday the 13th. Oof, which is fantastic. Yeah, I'm all for it. Don't forget to go see Five Nights at Freddy's. Me and my son watched that last night. And let me tell you, it's a great movie. A little bit of slow parts, but if you get through those slow parts, there's a lot of subtle nods to Nightmare on Elm Street. And if the rumors are true that Blumhouse wants to do a Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a lot of nods to it and a lot of Easter eggs. So if you, that's just what I picked up. You may pick up something different, but I picked up a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street references. So check it out. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you think about Poltergeist. Again, this is day 27 of DadPooLoWeen. Only got a few more days left, so we actually have a bonus episode coming out this weekend as well. So look for two videos for DadPooLoWeen. So yeah, make sure you hit those notification bells. Make sure you jump in the comments. Make sure you hit me up on social media. Join the Discord. Interact. Let's talk. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Any of the movies that I reviewed, any of the movies that I'm gonna be talking about in the future, like with Hellraiser versus the Hulu Hellraiser. What are your thoughts on that? If you know a good Christmas slasher, and you want to recommend me a Christmas slasher review, let me know. I'll get it done for December. I'll fit it in. Trust. So on that note, again, I want to say thank you to everyone who's tuning in, who's understanding, who reaches out and asks me what's going on every day, because let me just face it, stuff is not good right now. We all know what's going on. I talked about it yesterday. It's been a lot to handle these last 24 hours, and I'm just trying to fight the best fight I can to try to reverse this and come out with both eyes wide open. So yeah, I appreciate everybody. So before I go, if you can just do a couple of things for me, if you can just watch a movie. Again, Five Nights at Freddy just came out. Maybe check that out. Maybe your big AMC Fear Fest is going on. Pop on Shudder. There's tons of movies. Go on Tubi. Great releases on Tubi. A lot of hidden gems. So there's a lot of resources. Pluto TV has 24/7 of everything you can think of. Trust everything you can think of. Whether it's your old, 70 shows, 60s, 50 shows. There's a whole sci-fi. There's a whole anime. There's comedy. There's horror. There's classic like everything. Like, just go check it out. It's a great product. And there's commercials. Who cares? It's what we grew up with as a kid, though. These attention spans, and not dealing with a 30-second commercial is unreal. Like, you just got to deal with it. Check it out. And they're doing great stuff over there. And even Freevee. Freevee is a similar platform, and they have a lot of movies on there as well. So go watch a movie, and then hug your loved ones. Did that last night. We watched Five Nights at Freddy's, and we had a big hug afterwards, and it was great times. And you just got to value those times. But until the next video, until tomorrow, until I see you again, this is DadPooL saying, I love you. See ya.